Have you ever found yourself delaying tasks until the last minute? It's a feeling we all know too well. The hard truth is, procrastination is a common struggle, a silent battle that many of us fight daily. It's like a shadow that looms over us, whispering, "Why do today what you can put off until tomorrow?" You see, procrastination doesn't discriminate. It has a way of creeping into the lives of everyone, from the diligent student cramming for an exam to the seasoned professional juggling multiple projects. We all experience it in varying degrees, and it's not always a sign of laziness or lack of discipline, as some might suggest. Sometimes, it's a coping mechanism for stress or a response to feelings of overwhelm. Other times, it's a consequence of perfectionism, where the fear of not doing something perfectly prevents us from starting altogether. But here's the good news. Understanding the psychology behind procrastination can help us overcome it. So, what makes us procrastinate? Let's dive into the psychology behind it. When we procrastinate, we're not just being lazy or disorganized. There's actually a whole lot of brain science involved. Our brain, in its most basic form, is wired to prioritize immediate rewards over future benefits. This is due to the part of our brain known as the limbic system, a primitive area that focuses on instant gratification. It's the part of the brain that urges you to check your phone now rather than finish the task at hand. Now, contrast this with the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-control and long-term planning. It's this part of the brain that tells you to finish your assignment now rather than binge watch your favorite show. But here's the catch. Your prefrontal cortex is not as automatic as your limbic system. It requires conscious effort and engagement to take charge, and that's where the struggle begins. Apart from the brain's natural inclination towards immediate rewards, procrastination can also be triggered by our emotional state. Fear of failure is a common emotion that pushes us to procrastinate. Our brain, in an attempt to protect us, encourages us to avoid tasks that could potentially lead to failure. So, we end up putting off the task, telling ourselves we'll do it later when we are better prepared, only to repeat the cycle when later comes. Perfectionism is another psychological factor that leads to procrastination. We often think of perfectionists as people who get things done flawlessly, but in reality, many perfectionists are chronic procrastinators. The reason? They fear not being able to complete the task perfectly, so they put it off, waiting for the ideal conditions that never seem to come. Additionally, our mindset plays a significant role in procrastination. If we view a task as being too big or too difficult, we're more likely to put it off. This is known as task aversiveness. We avoid the task because we anticipate it will be unpleasant or difficult. However, most of the time, once we actually start the task, we realize it's not as bad as we thought. Lastly, low self-confidence and self-efficacy can also lead to procrastination. If we don't believe we have the skills or abilities to complete a task, we're likely to put it off. It's not that we're incapable, it's just that we don't believe in our capability. Understanding the psychology behind procrastination is the first step towards overcoming it. It's not just about willpower or time management. It's about understanding how our brain works, recognizing our emotional triggers, and adjusting our mindset. Now that we understand why we procrastinate, let's explore how we can combat it. Scene script. Overcoming procrastination is no easy task, but with the right strategies, it's entirely possible. Let's dive into the strategies that can help us ditch the habit of delaying tasks. The first strategy is to break your tasks into smaller parts. A big task can seem daunting, and our instinct might be to avoid it entirely. But if you break it down into smaller, manageable tasks, it becomes much less intimidating. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. You don't look at the peak and get overwhelmed, do you? No, you focus on the path right in front of you, one step at a time. The same principle applies to overcoming procrastination. Next, let's talk about the reward system. This strategy is based on the concept of positive reinforcement. When you complete a task, reward yourself. It could be a break, a treat, or anything that makes you feel good. This reward system creates a positive association with task completion. It's like training a puppy. Every time the puppy does something right, you reward it. Eventually, the puppy starts doing the right things because it knows there's a treat waiting at the end. You're essentially training your brain in a similar way. Another strategy is to use time effectively. Try techniques like the Pomodoro technique, where you work for a set amount of time, say 25 minutes, and then take a 5-minute break. This helps maintain a high level of productivity without burning out. Remember, it's not about working non-stop, but working smart. Now, let's discuss mindfulness. Mindfulness means being fully present and engaged in what you're doing. When you're mindful, you're not worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. You're focused on the task at hand. This can be a powerful tool against procrastination because it helps you stay focused and reduces the anxiety that often leads to procrastination. You can practice mindfulness through meditation, breathing exercises, or simply by paying attention to the details of your current task. Lastly, don't underestimate the power of positive thinking. Visualize yourself completing the task and think about how good it will feel once it's done. Positive thinking can motivate you to start working and keep you going until you finish. Now, it's important to note that these strategies won't work overnight. Overcoming procrastination is a process that requires patience and consistency. You might not see immediate results, but don't get discouraged. Keep trying different strategies and find what works best for you. Remember, the key to overcoming procrastination is consistency and practice. Every step you take towards overcoming procrastination, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. So, start today, and before you know it, you'll be leaving procrastination in the dust. Imagine a life where you're in control of your tasks, not the other way around. Picture yourself powering through tasks with ease, your mind clear and focused. This is the power of overcoming procrastination, and today, we're going to explore why it's so beneficial. Firstly, let's talk about productivity. When you conquer procrastination, you're no longer wasting time dreading tasks or delaying them. Instead, you're using every moment effectively, accomplishing more than you ever thought possible. This sense of achievement can be incredibly fulfilling. It's like being a master chef, skillfully juggling multiple dishes at once. You're on top of your game, and it feels fantastic. Now, think about self-esteem. Procrastination often leaves us feeling guilty or anxious, questioning our capabilities. But when you overcome procrastination, you're affirming to yourself that you can do it. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of tackling tasks head-on. You're building your confidence brick by brick, and before you know it, you've constructed a skyscraper of self-assurance. It's a feeling of pride that's hard to beat. Finally, let's consider stress. Procrastination can create a snowball effect of stress. As tasks pile up, so does our anxiety. But when you overcome procrastination, that snowball stops rolling. You're no longer feeling overwhelmed by an ever-growing to-do list. Instead, you're tackling tasks one by one, methodically and calmly. Your mind feels clear and your stress levels decrease. It's like stepping out of a noisy city into a serene forest. The contrast is striking and the relief is immense. So, what's the takeaway? Overcoming procrastination can turn your life around. It can boost your productivity, elevate your self-esteem, and lower your stress levels. It's a journey of self-improvement that can lead to a more fulfilling, balanced life. Breaking free from the chains of procrastination is no small feat, but the rewards are immense. Overcoming procrastination can significantly improve your life. Let's quickly recap what we've learned today. We started by acknowledging the struggle with procrastination. We all face it, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. We then delved into the psychology behind it, understanding that it often stems from fear, perfectionism, or a lack of motivation. We didn't stop at just understanding the problem, though. We moved on to explore practical strategies to overcome procrastination. We learned about time management techniques, setting achievable goals, and the importance of self-care in maintaining motivation. Finally, we looked at the brighter side, discussing the benefits of overcoming procrastination. We talked about how it can lead to better productivity, improved mental health, and an overall sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. Remember, overcoming procrastination is a journey, not a destination. Keep practicing and you'll surely get there. It's all about taking that first step, then the next, and the one after that. So, let's get started, shall we?